Hello everyone, my name is Brandy and I am with Fresh by Brandy. I am a furniture painter out of Sacramento, California, and I am a Dixie Belle Paint brand ambassador. And this week Dixie Belle is taking over the jewelry box furniture painting group. Thank you to Uganda for inviting us on. And so I've been invited on today to talk to you guys a little bit about painting jewelry boxes with some of the Dixie Belle products and then some redesign products. I'm going to try to read my comments, but they're a little far away. I might bring you guys in closer so I can see you better. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer so I can see my comments better. Sorry about that. Well, let's see. Okay, let's see if that works. I can see you better. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Maya. Okay. So I've been invited on today to talk to you guys a little bit about painting jewelry boxes. And anybody who's ever painted a jewelry box, I would challenge that they're actually a little bit more difficult than painting a full-size furniture piece. So I'm new to your group and I'm hoping to learn a lot about painting on the miniature scale because I know it's something that you guys take very seriously. So I'm grateful to Uganda for having a group that takes painting jewelry boxes as a different level than you know, just using them as sample pieces. So I actually have some of my own jewelry boxes and I've done a few as gifts and things. You can hear me just fine. Okay, thank you, because I feel like I'm really far away from my camera right now. So you know what else? I'm going to fix my Wi-Fi. Okay, that should be boxes as gifts for friends. We had a family that we know and love move to South Dakota last year, and I can't send full-size furniture pieces with them, so I sent jewelry boxes. Now, I am a sucker for the ones that look like dressers, but in a miniature scale. So let me show you guys this one here. This is my personal jewelry box, full of all my valuable jewels. Just kidding, full of costume jewelry. But this is a piece that I did that I love, and I love the musical ones too. So this is one, and then I found this one, which is really similar, but it's got the see-through fronts, and I'm super excited to do this one. It's still original. I haven't touched this one yet. You found me, because here I am. So that's another one. The one that we're going to do today is this one here. And I love this piece because it's not just a plain box. It has this little vanity mirror on it too. So this looked like a lady's vanity dresser to me. I love the little mirror. So I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite products that I would use for doing furniture on a miniature level. I think this appeals to all of our interest in, you know, dollhouse furniture and miniature scale things for some reason fascinate us. But I feel like jewelry boxes are the ultimate feminine piece. They're just like makeup vanities that more than likely it's going to be you have this one with a little mirror. So Uganda has all of my jewelry boxes apparently. I lost my train of thought. So I feel like they're the ultimate feminine piece where more than likely it's going to be a woman who's owning these. So they're really fun to do up in very feminine finishes. So this is the one we're working on. And let me show you what I've done to it so far. So far I have a base on it with 2 coats of Dixie Belle Tea Rose. And I chose Tea Rose because it is the perfect like dusty rose pink. It's just a very feminine color without being too bright. It's you know, got a little bit of gray undertones in it. So this is 2 coats of Dixie Belle Tea Rose on my box. And I took it all apart. All my hardware is off, and I painted all around my drawer boxes and inside of my frame as well. And then I've put a coat of satin clear on it. Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat. And the reason I did that was just because I previously painted this and I wanted to keep my paint nice and protected. You love this color. I love this color too. This is my favorite of the Dixie Belle pinks. So this is Tea Rose. And then the next step I'm going to do, I'm actually going to pull inspiration from the velvet on my piece. And I think the velvet lining is a really great place to pull colors out of. These usually have brightly colored velvet on them. And so I'm going to add some drawer side stenciling in Colonel Mustard. Can you guys see how that pulls in? I just think it'll be cute to have the peekaboo drawer sides with the, coordinate with the velvet on the inside. Okay, so what I'm going to be using to do my stenciling is I'm going to be using the Redesign with Prima Stick and Style stencil rolls. Try to say that fast. I've cut my head off on my camera again. Someday I'll get this angle right. So what the Stick and Style is it's a stencil roll, and on the back side of it, it's an adhesive. The reason I really like these for the jewelry boxes is because the stencil patterns have a miniature scale. They're a very small repeat pattern, and I feel like when you're working with miniature that you need to have smaller repeat patterns, which is a challenge because I normally do furniture and I look for papers and things that have large repeat patterns. So these are some of the Stick and Style stencil rolls, and you can see they just have a smaller repeat on them. That makes it a little bit more appropriate for painting on the drawer side. So I have a variety of them. These florals are really cute. I like the rose pattern. This is sort of a Spanish tile pattern. I think this one might be a little too large for the scale of my piece. There's another floral there. So I'm leaning in between this one and the rose, but I think I'm going to use this rose pattern. I just really like it. Yes, you need these stencils. So with these stencils, they come in this huge roll, which I'm going to show you today how much use I get out of one piece of this. It's driving me nuts that my head is cut off. I'm going to try to unchop my head off. Raise you guys up a little bit. Let's see if I'm not headless anymore. You guys can see all my mess. All right, that should be better. Okay, so now I can't see my comments at all, but so these Stick and Style stencil rolls, I really need to just cut off a piece that's appropriately sized to the side of my drawer, which doesn't take a lot. So the edge of this isn't really sticky anymore, so I'm just going to cut it off. This will just be a little piece that I waste. And then I'm just going to cut like, what's that, like an inch and a half of this stencil roll off to fit the side of my drawer. And I'm going to reuse this one little piece of stencil over and over and over again. I'm going to cut it a little bit large. Okay, so you can see it's stuck to my finger. These are adhesive on one side. So normally when I stencil, I use a spray adhesive on the back of my stencils. And with these, because they're adhesive already, I don't need to do that. So I'm going to take my Stick and Style stencil and I'm going to tape it right here to the side of my drawer. So, let me come over here and show you guys. I could either put it on vertically like this, or I can turn it and do it horizontally like this. I think either way I'm going to need to do 2 placements on each little drawer side. So I'm going to go ahead and do it vertically like this, and then I will just press that down to adhere onto my little drawer side. So that's like that. And then I'm going to take my Dixie Belle paint in Colonel Mustard and a small stencil brush. Let's see which one I want to use. So I really like the Redesign with Prima stencil brushes, and they come in a package of 5. You can order these online. I have them in my Amazon shop. Let's see if I can find them. They're usually down at the bottom because the handles are smaller. So these are the Redesign stencil brushes, and I love the size of these, and they're the perfect texture for stenciling. So now I've got my stencil placed on here. I'm going to make sure it's nice and adhered. And then I'm just going to dip it. I'm just going to actually use the lid of my paint because this takes so little paint. That's one thing I'll say about painting the jewelry boxes is I used only paint that was on the lid of my container. So imagine these are 16-ounce containers, but if you're working from an 8-ounce of Dixie Belle paint on miniatures, you will get so much use out of that one container of paint. So I'm just going to dab this into my paint that's on my lid of my container, and then I'm going to dab it off on a rag because you really want barely any paint. And then I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to dab this on. You get a little bit more paint, dab it off again. So the adhesive on the back of these stick and style stencils keeps it from bleeding through underneath my stencil. So you get really clean stencil lines, which I think is really important if you're working on a small scale piece like a jewelry box. You want everything to be super clean because it's all the more noticeable if you have messy lines and your details aren't as crisp. So I like that. So this is where the magic happens. This is my favorite part. So then I could just peel this off, and it just added a really cute stencil to my drawer side. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to match it up to a similar repeat pattern. This is where that small repeat is really important. So I'm reusing the same piece of stencil. This will peel and stick multiple times. So I will probably get all of my drawer sides out of this one little piece of stencil. So I just peeled it off, stuck it again. I matched up, can you see the repeat pattern here where one side of the rose I already did and the other side I matched up? So I'm going to do that now. It doesn't even have to be a perfect match. I love these stick and style stencils for this. And they're even great on full-size furniture pieces. I use them a lot on drawer sides. So there's that, and then if I peel this off, like how cute is that drawer side with the little rose pattern, and then the color ties into the inside. So I don't want every drawer side to be the same, so now I can take my same stencil piece and I can flip it over and use this other side. And I'll basically get another design on this other side. The stencils are actually available through Dixie Belle, Jane. If you go to I put a link in the post above. Dixie Belle carries a lot of the Redesign with Prima products, and the ones I'm going to be using today, you can get on the Dixie Belle website. You can also search redesignwithprima.com and find a retailer near you if you'd like to go in and check with a retailer. But the stick and style stencils, and I'm going to be doing some transfers, and the transfers I'm going to be using are all available on the Dixie Belle website, as well as the paint that I'm using. I just love this part. I could do this part all day. So cute. And then I'm just going to place it again, kind of match my pattern up where it makes sense. Stick it down. This is all with just one piece of the stencil that's like 2 inches big. So like I showed you guys before, the stencils come in this huge roll. So imagine if I'm using like 1 inch of it on this one, how much use you'll get out of this one roll. A lot of the Redesign with Prima retailers will cut these down to smaller size and sell them in smaller quantity if you don't want this entire roll. So if you find a retailer, check with them and see if they sell the stick and styles in smaller quantities if you wanted that. But I like the larger quantities because then you can take it and you can use it on a full-size furniture piece if you want it also. So I'm going to do one more of these, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next on this little jewelry box. I'm going to keep this one, you guys. I like to have these. I like to have them as sample pieces to show customers different finishes. You know, when they come to talk to me about a full-size furniture piece and I could show them a miniature scale. So this is a little more dry because I'm using very little paint, and this is wet. But you can see how cute that is. And we did this side already. So it's the perfect scale. The repeat pattern on that stencil is the perfect scale for this box. And I just love how the color ties in with that. So I'm just gonna take this piece and I'm gonna keep doing my drawer sides, and I'm just gonna stick it on the edge of my cabinet here to come back and use after we're done here. And I'll set that aside. So I wanted to show you a couple other stencil options aside from the stick and style. That would work great on the miniature scale. So Prima Marketing does, they're the founders of the Redesign with Prima line, which we know for, it's 45 feet long. It is, but if you think about it, like if you use it on a drawer side that's 24 inches deep, you know, you could get a lot of use out of that. Did you seal the sides as well as the front? Yes, so my entire piece is sealed right now. Because I just put that stencil over it, I will be resealing it again afterwards. I knew I was going to be setting this piece aside to be painting it live today. So I wanted to make sure that all my paint was sealed so that I could just set it aside and not worry about it getting damaged or anything in between. So all of my piece, inside, sides, back, has all been sealed with satin clear coat. I don't think that's a necessary step before you're stenciling, but I wanted to let you guys know that I did do that. So I will go back afterwards and I will just reseal my stencil into my piece now. So Prima Marketing, the founders of the Redesign with Prima line, carry a lot of products that are made for scrapbooking and things. So these are a couple little stencils I can show you the scale of, would be really appropriate for a little drawer side or even the front of a jewelry box. I think size is really important, and working with a full-size stencil, this is another one that I think would be really appropriate for the size. So these are both by Prima Marketing. These are just some of their stencils that you can check with some of their retailers and see if they carry those. This was another one I thought was cool, and it comes in like a fan deck, but it's got some of these smaller patterns where I think this would be really cute, you know, over the front of a jewelry box. So these are like a fan deck stencil. These are also by Prima Marketing, but a lot of their stuff is made for scrapbooking. So if you think about it, scrapbooking would be an appropriate size for working on a jewelry box. Another thing that they have are these silicone molds. Now these molds are made to go on top of a wooden knob on a full-size furniture piece. So if you think about it, you could take this wooden knob and you could put this butterfly on the top and it would make this a decorative knob. But these are also that smaller scale size that would be really cute. Yeah, the fan deck is really cool. You know, this little wreath here, this would be the appropriate size to make molds for the front of a jewelry box. So I love these. These are wooden knob, these are knob molds. They're made for knobs, but they're miniature scale. So the next thing I'm going to be doing with my piece is I'm going to be using some of their knob transfers. So these are also made for going on the top of a wooden knob. You could paint this and then make it decorative by putting a transfer on there. But I want to add them. I'm going to put them on some of my drawer fronts, and then I'm going to put one here on this top of this mirror. So because these are knob transfers, they're just miniature, and if you cut them apart, you can get these little floral details. And these are these coordinate with some of the full-size Redesign with Prima transfers. So like these here would be closest to the lavender bush transfers, look like these. So you can have knobs that match your full-size furniture piece. Yes, Tracy's going to be here. You have 12 molds. Yes, 12. So the miniature molds are awesome. I love creating molds out of resin. So when I'm looking here at the tea rose color, I don't know, what do you guys think? Should I bring in some more of the pinks? I kind of like these here because they've got a little bit of the deep plums in it. Or I could go just more with the pink and the green. I want it to really, I'm going to put some on my fronts, and then I'm going to put some on, I'm going to go here with these. So for the top of my mirror, I want to add this rose here is really pretty. So I'm just going to cut one of these off. And I've got this little tiny transfer here that I'm just going to put right here on the top of my mirror. I mean, they're so tiny. They're the perfect size for this though. So I'm gonna, let's see, which way do I want it to go? I'm gonna put it like this. So they come with there's a clear sheet and then there's a white backing behind it. If you separate the clear sheet from the white backing, and then you can more or less place it on there, and I'm just gonna stick it down. Yeah, I like the plum too, Leanne, just a little bit of that purple. And then, let me find one of my transfer sticks. Of course, I cannot find any transfer sticks. I'm just gonna rub it with the back of my paintbrush now. So then I can rub this little bitty transfer on. It's already started to come off the backing, I can see, because it's so small, they're so easy to transfer. So I will just rub this on. And then I can come back and peel away this clear backing sheet. And I've got a beautiful, like, little tiny transfer that is the perfect size for the top of my mirror on this jewelry box. It's super cute. So I love these transfers. So then I will go over and I'm gonna press this down and make sure all my edges are adhered. So it's appropriately sized for this piece. It just looks really detailed. You lost the live feed. Jane, go back out and come back in again and see if that helps. So it's the perfect size for that. So my top drawer on this, I'm thinking that I want to put like some gold stripes across the front of it. And I will do that with a painter's tape. But then I'm thinking that I will take one of these little script transfers. Let's see, which one do I want to use? You know, if you do these little boxes regularly, I just think these have so much use. So I want to take one of these little script transfers and I'm going to put it on across the front of the top drawer. So I'm thinking I like this one here. Where is it? This one here. So I'm just going to cut one of these out. And I'm going to layer this with a stripe detail across the front of the drawer. Golden pink is so classic. Yes, in fact, I'm going to use, to make my stripes on my drawer, I'm going to use some of my Redesign with Prima decor wax in Eternal, which is a gold. It's a nice rich gold. So I'm going to put my stripes like this, and then layer this little script transfer over the top of those stripes on my top drawer. So I'll have the gold, you know, with the little script in the center of it. So I try to think of what are finishes I would put on a full-size furniture piece and then recreate them in a miniature. And I love the script. And then in the knob transfers, because the size is appropriate for the size of these boxes. So I will do that. But let's see, then I want to take, and the same transfer that I used on the top here, I want to carry it kind of streaming down the front of my piece right here. So I'm going to cut a couple more of those, and they don't all have to be the same. So I could take like another rose like I did on the top and coordinate it with this one here. This one's got a little bit more hydrangea in it. I'm going to take the hydrangea one. And I'm going to drape these down the front of my piece. I'm going to pop one of my drawers out here. I'll start in this bottom corner down here. So I'm going to pop this bottom drawer out. And same as I did on the top of the mirror, I'm just going to take off this little knob transfer. You can layer these. So I can combine them and layer them. And I want this to kind of carry along the molding of my little tiny drawer. Again, I don't have my transfer stick out with me, so I'm just using the end of a paintbrush. I've even used my fingernail, especially for these tiny ones because they just rub off so easily. And I'm going to get down into this little curve right here. Rub that off, rub this. I do the curves first, and then I'll come do this flat section. And right away I can tell this is going to peel right off. And I've got this super cute little tiny transfer. Yeah, I think the cascading will be really pretty, and then it'll tie in with the flower on the top. So I will just keep adding these one at a time, and you can cut them apart. You can cut a little tiny flower out if you just need a piece, a little tiny piece of it. Tip this, get this drawer out. So now I will take, and let's take one of these flowers like I had on the top. So Uganda, I saw that you were working on a piece and you were cutting out the little, you know, the little tiny transfers of floral also. And these knob transfers are a great option because there aren't, most of them are made for full-size furniture pieces, so it's hard to find ones that are appropriately sized. Do you have any issues applying over top coat? So no, I don't. You can. I prefer usually to put transfers over raw paint, and that's just so your transfer has something to bite onto. But here you can see I am doing it over a clear coat, and I'm not having any issues with that. I will reseal these transfers afterwards also. But again, I want to reiterate that this top coat that I have on here is not necessary before you put your transfer on. If your top coat is wax, you can have adherence issues. So these are two drawers that go in line with each other. And I think I'm going to put another one right here just so it looks seamless, like they are cascading into each other down the front of my piece. These are so cute, by the way. Why are we so excited by everything in miniature? I'm going to put these in my... Okay, so my next one, sorry, this is musical, and the little arm for the music box, I have it taped in so it won't stick out, but it keeps untaping itself. There we go. I don't want the music to be turning on and off while I'm taking the drawers out. So I'm going to take my next one and I'm going to connect these two. So I'm going to let it go over this little ridge here so it connects these two transfers. Yes, delicate floor, yes, because it's those little tiny flowers and you can cut them all apart. Yes, that is a great transfer for this. So let's see. I'm going to take, I think, one of these pink roses. This is so fun. Why are we so fascinated with working in everything in miniature? This is just another one of the knob transfers. They come in so many different patterns. These are all available, you guys, on the Dixie Belle website too. So I'm going to do this one and then I'll pop off and you guys can come see. Tracy Bellion with Tracy's Fancy is going to be live in the group tomorrow painting with you guys. So remember how I told you you can layer these? So I'm going to put this, let me get my hand out of the way so you can see. So I'm going to put this in line with the others. I'm going to layer on top of the ones I've already done, and then I'll probably do one kind of down here a little bit. So let's see, kind of like, so you can play with which direction you want it to go in, whatever looks better with your pattern. But I feel like this needs to go a little bit sideways. And then I'm going to hold it in here and take my, this is the edge of my paintbrush, and I'm going to do my curves first because they will, the transfer will want to tear when you're going around a curve. So I work on the curves first and then come back and do some of the flat portions. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. So then I can take an X-Acto knife, and where this transfer is going across these creases right here, I can cut that with a little X-Acto knife and I'll get a really nice, clean, crisp in between my drawers there. So you can kind of see where I'm going, where I'm going to cascade this around the front of my box. And then my top drawer will have the stripes and that script on it. And then it will tie in with the transfer we put on the top of our mirror. So that's kind of where I'm going with my box. Then I've got my stencil drawer sides. So I just wanted to show you guys those few tools that you can take and apply on a miniature scale and how well they coordinate with the Dixie Belle and the tea rose. And then the Colonel Mustard for my drawer sides. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Uganda, for having us on. You guys, I checked out the group last night, and I really think you guys do some amazing, amazing work. I know how much harder it can be to work in the miniature scale. I've tried to blend over a little tiny drawer front using, you know, tiny little artist brushes, and it's way harder than a furniture piece. So I have all the respect in the world for you guys for working on jewelry boxes and smaller size pieces like that. I'm fascinated with them myself, so I'm excited just as a member of the group to be learning from you guys, because there's definitely some expertise here, some things for me to learn. So thank you for welcoming me, for having me on, and I hope you guys will try out some of these tools and try out your Dixie Belle paint. But I really enjoyed being here. I'm excited to be in the group. Thank you, Dixie Belle. Thank you, Uganda, for having me, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm Brandy with Brush by Brandy. If you don't already, go follow my page. And a lot of the techniques that we use on full-size furniture pieces translate really well into the miniature. So I'm excited. I will also post pictures of this box when it's all done. I will post pictures of it on my page. Thank you guys. Bye.